Okay, so we're live now, so go ahead.
Hello, Lovettsville, and welcome to our third edition of Lovettsville 20180 Liberty Radio Station, or Liberty Station
The
Radio.
Liberty Radio Hour. Even though we're trying to get it down. I know we're trying to get it down to under an hour.
So happy Memorial Day. So this morning, during the memorial service, I ran into one of the most wonderful people that lives here in Lovettsville, Larry Anderson, and he is a veteran. So he's the reason why we are honoring everyone today. Live and in person is one of them right here, Lovettsville's own. So, Warner,
Wait,
he didn't
how do I
know,
not know you? Do you know me at all?
No,
which is really
I know.
I only know her.
I'm actually famous.
infamous, I think is what it is.
So how long have you lived in Lovettsville?
Just 3 years.
Oh, okay.
We
I
lived
feel
here
better.
before, a long time ago. And
Oh, I see.
then we moved back. My wife wanted to be with the grandkids.
Oh, sweet.
So we lived in Hamilton previously.
Oh, okay. Well, you've lived in and around this area.
Yeah.
For a number of
We
decades.
had maybe 13 years total.
Oh, okay. Okay, sweet.
Where are you from originally, Larry?
I grew up in Boston, but I was born in the deep south,
Really?
Wait, how deep in the south?
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
But that was a long time
That's
ago.
past
Florida
the
was
deep
different.
That's so past the deep south, it's actually north again once you get to Florida.
No. 7 states to secede.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a retired air traffic controller, and before that I was in the worked for the Massachusetts Port Authority, and I worked. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. So I met my wife there, and then when I was discharged, we went back east for a short while. I was with, like I said, the Mass Port Authority. Then I went with the FAA as an air traffic controller, and spent my life there
Wow.
until retired.
At our airport here in Washington?
No, I never worked at an airport.
Where did you air traffic
Wait,
control?
air traffic controller without an airport. Oh,
There's two options.
it's a government program, isn't it?
Terminal controllers and center controllers.
Yeah.
And center controllers are radar controllers totally. And I don't know one airplane from another.
Yeah.
Not like the terminal guys do. They're really expert at it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Big ones, little ones, they all look the same on radar.
No, absolutely. A dot with a green arrow on it, yeah. Well, that's like I'm from Oklahoma, and there's actually a Navy facility in Oklahoma. We're 2,000 miles away from the ocean on either side, and there's some Navy thing in Oklahoma.
I lived in Norman for 6 years.
No, I went to school there. University of Oklahoma.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm a Sooner. The heck with those little cowboy guys up in Stillwater.
Well, I went to.
So you know where Midwest City is?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm from, right? That's right next to Tinker Air Force Base. And my dad retired Tinker Air Force Base employee. He worked there 29 years or something like that. So you lived in Norman?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But you were at the school there, the FFA school?
No, I taught at the FAA school. Well, I both went there, and then later in my career I taught there and for 6 years. And then I came here to Leesburg. And then I bounced from Leesburg to headquarters and back to Leesburg. And
Do you miss the tornadoes in Oklahoma?
oh, heck no. We've been in the hallway with mattresses over our heads praying that it would pass us by.
Wow.
That's too funny.
Okay. There's only one laugh in Lovettsville that sounds like that. And you can only hear it. You gotta hear it.
Well, what's funny is I am sort of known for my laugh. It's just sort of funny. Yeah.
I can see why that would be. Does your wife still appreciate your laugh?
We've been married a long time, right? So she's heard all my jokes and has heard all my laughs, but yeah, she does.
Well,
for the
that's
most part. Yeah. Okay, so with that said, now are you a Sooner fan at all? Did you ever go to an OU football game?
I actually had season tickets, and everyone was going nuts because I just moved there. But my next door neighbor worked for the athletic department,
Oh, wow.
and she was a immigrant who knew nothing about football.
Did she immigrate from Texas? Because they don't know anything about football either.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. But she asked me if I wanted season tickets. Have been turned in, I said, sure.
Well, what years was
Sure,
that?
that's 1980, when was that, 79 to 85.
That's funny because so I was there the whole time.
That is.
We were right next door.
Oh, okay.
Because I was because I went to school there from
Yeah.
80 to, of August of 80 to December of 84.
Okay.
So I say this all the time, right? It's a small world. And my favorite ride at Disney World is, in fact, it's a small world after all.
It
Right?
is, I love
Because
that.
it seems like no matter where I go on the planet, I'm 15 feet away from somebody.
In Oklahoma, like, who goes to Oklahoma? Actually, I'd like to go
At one
there.
time,
I've never
I
been.
was a traffic controller.
No, absolutely, right?
The academy was to be trained.
Yeah, that was it. So I lived in one of those towers. I lived in the Walker Tower, which was one of the big X towers, 12 stories tall. Y'all guys were in one. FFA was in one. And then
That's the future farmers of America.
or FAA.
That's what I was FAA or FFA.
That just proves I'm from Oklahoma because I know what FFA
FFA
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Okay, well that's neat. So we were there. We were probably at the
Your
same
brothers.
OU football games because I went to every one since about 72.
I went to one, I remember when Elway picked apart the Sooners.
Oh yeah.
It looked like it was launching missiles,
Yeah.
and they'd go out and then come down. And
Yeah. So you were there. So we won the national championship in '85.
I was just leaving that
You were
year.
just leaving, yeah. Yeah, I graduated by then. Yeah, sweet. Barry Switzer. Anyway, okay, so let's get down to the meat.
Okay.
So let's talk about your history as a veteran.
Well, it's been a long time since I was in the service. I've been out about 49 years now. No, 48 years. And
You still remember it though, right?
I remember Paris Island, going through there.
Yeah. So start from the beginning. So you graduated high school and
I went to graduate from high school in Boston. Subsequently, I briefly,
I hear an accent to me.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
briefly attended Boston University. Then we had a problem with money. They wanted it, and I didn't have any. So then I went in the Marine Corps, and then they,
So what year was that? That was the
I went to Marine
fall
Corps.
of
I went in the Marine Corps in November 15, 1963.
1963.
And then they were looking for people who could become pilots. So I was picked up for a flight training program.
So you were a pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you fly?
UH-34 helicopter. They were obsolete then. Still are.
Is it the ones they always show in MASH?
No, that's a Bell.
Oh, that's
Yeah, this is. Every now and then you'll see one on TV. It's big bulbous nose. Crew sits underneath you, and you sit up. Two pilots sit up top. Long, sloping tail with a tail rotor sticking up.
What was its primary mission?
It was the primary helicopter for the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
It was everything: resupply, medevac.
Oh, wow.
You flew escorts on convoys and what have you.
So you went in November of 1963, so I was a little over 1 year old.
Well, you're not old enough to vote yet.
Okay, so you go in November of 63 and do what in November? Because I've never been in the military, so I really
Yeah.
Oh,
I
in
wonder what the
November,
journey
you
is
got to book Paris Island, and boot camp at Paris Island. If you're on the East Coast and West Coast, you go to San Diego. And it was a lot of fun.
I'm assuming Paris Island, is not in France.
No, it's in South Carolina, and it's
And that's
it's
boot
on the
camp for
coast.
the Marines.
yeah.
What was the boot camp like, Larry? Was it really hard? Physically really hard?
Well, they
Like give me 50,
They-
everything kind of thing?
cajole you into doing various things, and it's a lot of physical activity, stress physical activity, go, 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 go. But by and large, the people who run it, they're patriotic Americans. I mean, they put a lot of time and effort into their job.
So let's put this in perspective real quick. What did you make a month when you hired in What's the rank of an initial
E1.
Marine?
I
E1.
made about, I don't know, somewhere around $90 a month. I thought I was in hog heaven. After you get out of boot camp, because you're Marine, you don't have time off.
Well, how long is boot camp?
It was about 3 months then.
Because, once Marine, always Marine. You can see that with the other services.
Yeah, there's no well, there's 2 ex-Marines, Lee Harvey Oswald and Riddick Bowe.
Okay, so how long was boot camp?
About 3 months in those
About
days.
3
I don't know what it is.
Okay, yeah. And so what'd you do afterward? So what happens
Yeah,
after?
what's your first assignment?
Well,
Did you get a tattoo?
No, and I'm surprised I didn't.
No, absolutely right, because that seems fairly popular even back then.
Yeah, generally directly related to how much you imbibed.
How much you drink? Is that what it's directly related
During
to?
your time
No, I never got one.
Okay, so you're 3 months in, you have no tattoo, and you leave Parris Island to do what?
Well, I stayed, actually was held there because I was being tested for flight training. There's a battery of tests they gave you in those days, not now. And it was for people without a college degree. So we took a whole bunch of tests, and then I was 19 when I went in, so I needed my mother's permission.
Crazy.
I had to write to her.
You mean at 19
Mom.
you still had to have your mother's
In
permission?
those days, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm 53, I still have to ask my mom for permission.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because you're not old enough to do anything. But it was, it changed majority later,
Yeah.
But, so then after that, I went right from Parris Island to Pensacola. And then we went through a form of OCS
Right.
with our classmates would be college graduates.
Okay, so
Right.
what does
So we-
OCS mean, guys?
Is that officer
Officer
candidate
candidate
school? Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
There was a form of it. It was for the aviation.
Okay.
We had college kids next door to you. I mean, we all
Okay.
went through together.
Now, did you pick to be a helicopter pilot, or did they assign
They picked
you?
yeah.
Well, in my case, they assigned me. I got the reflexes of a sloth.
Okay. Well, it's because here's the deal. So for me, I think a helicopter would be much more exciting to fly than a plane. I mean, plane, you're just going really fast.
Well,
And that's great.
we flew both. We trained in fixed wing aircraft up to the point of qualifying on an aircraft carrier. And then after that, you went into what you're gonna, for the Marines, most of them went to helicopters. If you were gonna fly jets, you did that right away after you flew T-34s.
Right.
Went right into a jet pipeline
Yeah.
in Meridian.
The T-34 is the little trainers that they had back in the early 60s, right?
Yeah,
It was a fixed wing.
I believe
single
they
engine.
still may have them, but now it's a turboprop version.
Right. Right.
In those days, it was just a Pratt & Whitney engine that they had in those days, but it's a long time ago.
Right, right. And they got rid of the big rubber band ones before you actually went to
Yeah,
the
before I
Marines,
went
right?
in.
Yeah, okay, just make sure. Okay, so you go into Officers Candidate School.
Yeah, it was about a 1.5-year program, a little more than that.
Oh, wow.
And you went through a whole bunch of academics for aerodynamics, meteorology, engines, flight physiology, navigation, a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And then
Now, when you graduated OCS, what was your rank?
I was I forgot, I was an aviation. We got weekends off.
Did you?
Yeah, that's what he remembers.
We were still aviation cadets.
Oh, okay.
The Navy had NAVCADs, Naval Cadet.
Oh,
The Marines had MARCADs, Marine Cadets.
okay.
Huh.
But we did get weekends off, I know that.
Yeah, and you had a pay raise, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're flying airplanes.
A little bit
Right.
more.
Pay a little.
We got, I think once we started, we were making a lot of money. We were up to about $158.
It's insane. That's crazy.
A month?
Yeah,
Isn't that insane?
big time.
Yeah. But milk gas was probably maybe 15 cents or 10 cents. at
Well,
the
in the
time.
20s.
Yeah.
There's probably some that were that low, but mostly it was in the 20s.
Yeah.
And we managed to get around.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, what was your first? Now, when did you buy a car? Because I know every guy that's in OCS is going to buy a car at some point.
Oh, Pensacola was had an abundance of automobile dealers.
Yeah.
Tracked the dealer signed for me to buy the car. I was underage.
Are you serious? The dealer of the dealership.
Well, the employee. Yeah, I couldn't contract. I was too young in those days. And then
That's too funny.
later they got my aunt on the phone, and she ended up helping them co-sign. I guess, I don't know.
That's too funny.
But I had the car for a
Wow.
long time.
Well, what car was it?
Yeah.
What
It was
do
a-
Top
What
Gun
did you-
Marine fighter pilots, what
Well,
do they drive?
It's actually, that's what, I want a fighter pilot. I'd have been dead. It was a Dodge Polara 500 with a 383 engine, push button on the left side, and it would eat a Corvette.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
it was, I forgot the year now, maybe it was a 64, 63. Been too many years now. But they were fast.
Yeah, so
The 383 engine.
listen,
Wow.
Daisy, all these
Yeah.
pilots are the same, man, right?
Really?
As soon as they get their license, they get these real fast cars and pick up babes. So when did you meet your wife?
I met my wife when I came back from Vietnam. I was assigned to the McCoy
Did you have a
station.
car?
Yeah, it was a piece of junk by then. And then I met her when I came back, and then about a little over 7 weeks later, we were married. And we were married for over 47 years before she passed away.
Oh,
And smartest thing I ever did. Sure, period.
yeah.
Everything else was secondary.
Yeah. So let's jump. So I jumped ahead by screwing up here. So let's go back. So you get out of OCS, you buy your car,
Flight training.
or the flight training.
Yeah, it's indoctrination battalion, I think it was called in those days,
Yeah.
pre-flight. And then once you start in a position where you're flying and you're getting flight pay, which was probably $50 a month, I don't know, it's a long time. But then we could afford to buy something.
What was you remember your car payment?
Hmm?
Do you have any idea what your car payment was? Do you
I
remember?
can't remember now.
Yeah.
I didn't have much.
Do you remember how much you paid for the car? It was probably maybe $2,500, $2,000.
No way.
It may not have been that high because later on I tried to buy a Mustang for $3,600 and they wouldn't sell it to me. I'd make enough money. I think that's what it was. Later on I bought my wife a Mustang, but I couldn't afford one of those days.
Okay, so you finally are qualified to fly,
Why?
Yeah,
right? And then you do
fly.
what?
You fly. You learn the basics of flying the T-34s, and then from that, the crowd I was with advanced to T-28s. You take that to formation flying, instrument flying, carrier qualifications, and once you, if I haven't forgot anything, once you cross-country flights, and then after that, I went into helicopters, and some other people did other things.
Yeah. You get out of your flight school and you leave Pensacola at some point. Where do you go after Pensacola?
New River, North Carolina, down by Jacksonville.
What's it?
Assigned to, there's a helicopter base there, near right next to Camp Lejeune, and then they work with the infantry. And in those days, they would send out a battalion landing team afloat into the Caribbean or into the Mediterranean. And we went to the Caribbean on the USS Okinawa, LPH-3. And you go out there and they have you standing by in case something is going to happen. In our case,
So you weren't involved in the Bay of Pigs thing, were you?
No,
were you,
that's
were you
before-
mobilized? Yeah, I was going to say that. I think so. Yeah.
before, but
Yeah.
we were standing by when Vice President Humphrey went into Dominican Republic,
Oh wow.
and we had a company airborne,
Oh wow.
and he didn't need us, but we were.
So now, what was your first overseas deployment?
Well, overseas, I went to Vietnam,
Oh.
and it was different in those days. You only had to do. It's today you have to serve longer, but in those days you did 3 years fleet service, and so I went to Vietnam, Westpac as it's called, for a year. Some of that time was spent in Okinawa, then into Vietnam. Then I came back and I went to Yuma, Arizona, and spent a year there. And my time was up when I got out
Oh wow.
because I wasn't going back.
Yeah.
Like that was fun no more.
Yeah. Now, so how much total overseas time did you have? Or deployment time? Deployment time.
Well, the so-called Westpac is 13 months.
Okay.
Actually, in country, it was, I believe it was February to December,
Okay. Okay. Now, what year were you in?
1967.
67. So again, I was 5, and I'm trying to remember my Vietnam history, but we were really just starting to ramp up some of the involvement there, right? Because
It was
Johnson
Johnson was still in,
yeah.
and you just went to work every day.
Yeah. Now, what did you do? I mean, obviously you're a helicopter pilot, but more specifically, what were you doing in country in Vietnam?
Well, the assignments were either resupply for units out in the area,
Right.
and medevac, which you stood periodically. We were in our own medevac.
Yeah.
And then you do some, sometimes you'd ride escort on a convoy in case they needed something. And then if there was a vertical assault, you did that. And you would go out in force
Right.
with a multiple aircraft and then go in somewhere. And of course there was extractions too, when you pull a team out of the bushes.
Right.
And that was about it.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is, I've actually been to Vietnam myself.
It's a pretty country.
No, it's beautiful, right? And the reality is, I mean, I was there probably in the, maybe 2006, 2007, maybe, or 2002, or something. I can't remember when. They're still hardcore, sort of communists. This is under the reunification thing. But there was, but they were, sort of really nice people, great people, things like that. And it was interesting to be. To see their side of the story, at that time it was, almost 35 years later, it was just sort of a strange. I mean, it was a fairly, I'll call it prosperous, considering some of the places that I've been, but it was actually, sort of a decent place to visit, and the scars of the war from 30 plus years before had, probably the visual ones had been, fixed up, not necessarily, the personal ones.
Right, right.
So you spent, basically 13 months in an overseas deployment, more or less, right?
Yeah.
And then, now you said you came back and then did what?
I went to Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah. Now, what's in Arizona? What's in Yuma, Arizona?
A lot of sand.
You were going Middle East.
He had enough of the tropics.
It was then the old Vincent Air Force Base, but Marines had taken it over, and all of the air to ground and some air to air training was occurring out in restricted areas out there, and it was controlled both out of by the Marines in Yuma, and of course then you had the Army proving grounds right there.
Yeah.
And they were doing.
Yeah. So that's near. Wait, is that near White Sands? What's now called White Sands, Missouri?
No, it's no. Well, that's further.
The next state over.
Yeah. East. Well, El
I've
Centro.
actually been there, but I always forget where these.
You've been to where he's talking about, Yuma, Arizona?
I have. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think this is crazy.
Seriously, you guys have been living together all this time and
No,
never even
absolutely
knew
never
it.
knew each other.
And now here you are in Lovettsville, of all places. Wow.
That's too So now, when did you get out?
Yeah.
March of '69.
March of '69.
Yeah.
So everybody knows the exact date. And what was your exact date of departure?
3rd.
March 3rd?
Yeah.
Of what now, 69?
Yeah.
So and you went in November of '63.
Yeah, I was in a little over 5 years.
Yeah. Okay, so then in '69. So how much were you making when you got out? Do you remember? So you entered at $90 a month.
I think I was making the staggering sum of about $600 or $700 a month. I don't know.
Yeah, just in a few years you've gone
You're
from
like
90 to
almost movie
600.
stardom.
No, absolutely right.
No, I just somewhere around there, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was enough to feed us, and when I got out, I went with the not the show while I went with the Massachusetts Port Authority, and I worked at Logan Airport,
Wow.
and then applied to the FAA, which paid a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Now so I have a small collection of Mustangs, and I actually have my dad's Mustang that he bought in April '67. I'm actually going to restore it and give it back to my dad for a birthday. Shh, don't tell you that. But anyway, so what was your first little Mustang?
Well, and the new one we bought was, and that when they changed over to '94.
Oh,
I bought it.
Oh, that was your first one.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Couldn't afford it till '94.
Well, we had kids, and you're living your life, and you get to do stuff, and
No, I'm with you.
we went down to, I don't know what the Ford dealership was in Sterling, and the car wasn't for sale.
Yeah.
We walked in, my wife and I walked in and were looking around, and it was nice, and I could tell she liked it. And the salesman said, the car's not for sale, we can't sell it for a few more days because Ford's holding the release date. And knowing that my wife liked it, I said, I'll give you a sticker. He says, it's yours.
So much for not being able to sell the car.
So I just didn't care. She liked it, and she went home with it, and I finished all the paperwork. It was a dealership down there. They weren't bad people. They were all right, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So now, just real quick, so go back now. Now you got married when? How many years into the military did you get married?
I was in the Marine Corps 5 years.
5 years.
You married while you were in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1968.
Okay.
Yeah. In total, how many years were you married?
Over 47 years.
47.
Yeah.
To the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I lucked out in life, and
You made good choices.
she was a hell of a lot smarter than I was.
Well, I tell people that my wife is visually impaired, right? And so that way she doesn't actually
Yeah.
see me. And I wear left surrounders, so
You're
she
too
thinks I'm
humble,
6'2".
My wife was from Harlan County, Kentucky,
Oh,
and she went to work for a living when she was 14 years old.
Oh.
Too many mouths to feed, and
Wow.
I'm glad she did, and I'm glad she didn't have any opportunities. Because I could feed her a line.
Well, it must have worked.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, well, so much has changed, obviously, over, the last, 50, 60 years, for you, right?
Yeah.
And so, the reason I asked the question about how long were you married, 47 years is a long time. A lot of people just don't even make it
Long as-
4.7.
No,
and so
exactly.
a different generation, part of the latter part of the greatest generation, right?
Right.
And I think, lessons can be learned from our elders, right?
Right. How you
Um,
stick it out like that,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
because they saw a lot of changes. We think we see a lot of changes, but
Yeah.
he saw a lot of changes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I think, being, in your 20s, basically in, the 60s, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're just such mammoth cultural changes, right? And I think nothing today compares to what was going on in the 60s,
Yeah.
I mean, just, huge shifts in, culture and,
Is that how you feel? Because in the 60s, I wasn't old enough to really know better.
Yeah, there were a lot of changes going on. We were both interested in what would be a traditional marriage.
Right.
I was always thought I was lucky to find her, and she said the same, so I took her at her word. As long as I listened to her, things were good. And when I didn't,
Happy life, happy wife. That kind of
now
thing,
real
I
quick,
think.
now how many kids do you have?
we have 4 children,
4
a
children,
boy
and
and 3 girls.
Oh, you have a boy and 3 girls?
Yeah.
And then how many grandchildren do you have?
I got,
Count them up later.
it depends. We got one we're waiting on right now.
Oh, wow.
But I think I got grandkids and great-grandkids. I think it rounds out to 15 now.
Wow.
I get to
Really?
I got to use my
Quite
fingers
the
to do
family
it.
tree.
And
Do you know all their names?
Yeah, I know their names. I
'Cause
don't know
I-
their
How about
ages.
their birthdays?
I
No.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's one every month, basically. You know, sometimes a couple of months.
If there's 15 of them, so.
I always screw up my kids' names. I only have 4. I can't imagine having 15 grandkids and it's just you.
Well, they're great
You
grandparents
can
too.
hear.
Yeah, they're just,
Is everybody in
range.
this, within this area for the most part, or are they out of state?
they're all Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
Now, do you get to see them a lot? I mean, does one of them live in Lovettsville? I mean, do you live in Lovettsville because one of them lives here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
That's
supposed to
right.
be with him like soon. but-
Oh.
no, we pushed it off until tomorrow. I get some over in X-Line. I get some right down here in Town Center. And then I get,
Well, what's the last name? Do they know me?
I don't know. I didn't know yet.
Well, what's the last name of some of your
Well,
kids?
over in X-Line is Winter. Over in over by the library is Spalding. And then over in Town Center is Wilt. And then
Is Wilt?
Wilt.
Yeah.
And then over in Leesburg is Zebo, and then down in Haymarket is Folk.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Our son lives in Minneapolis, but he doesn't have any children. So like I said, we came back here because my wife wanted to be near the grandkids.
So you have the Northern Virginia area covered pretty much.
Yeah, no, sure. So you never lack for a meal for Thanksgiving, then?
Actually, I'm the cook. Frequently.
Now, do you buy all your grandkids Christmas presents?
Yeah, if somebody reminds me.
Now, what's your name again?
A lot of it is
Right, who are you?
No,
It's checks now. What
Checks
it's
now,
been.
yeah.
That's
Right now,
easier.
I'm shy in 3 birthdays. I gotta make it up.
Oh, wow.
You know, you do the gift card thing. You can go to
Yeah.
Giant and get gift cards there. Larry can help you out here.
Yeah.
While you're
It's new to me. That last Christmas was the first one because my wife just passed away last July, so she always did the heavy lifting there, and so that's new.
Yeah.
I gotta stay on top of it. I haven't so far, but that's okay.
Very good.
No, well, that's good. Well, and again, so it's Larry Anderson.
Yeah.
Entered Marine Corps of November '63.
Yeah.
Got out in March of '69. Served as a helicopter pilot. And what was the helicopter again? I'm gonna have to look this up.
UH-34. Sikorsky. Eagle.
Oh, sweet.
Eagle made it.
Yeah.
You could walk away from them when they crashed.
Yeah. So, here's the deal. So, Darcy's the one that actually brought this up. He says, let's have a conversation with the vet, right? And so, he went in 5 years in tournament, questionable times in the military and served his nation honorably for just a hair over 5 years.
Yeah.
And you said you got out March 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that every March 3rd?
No.
No? Oh, my dad, he got out of the Air Force. He calls me up every time. Hey, I left the Air Force.
I remember when I went in every day.
Yeah. See, that's what I remember.
November 15, that's, I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So is there anything you would change, Larry? Did
No.
you go?
No, I went in and my biggest event in my life was marrying my wife. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't gone to the Marine Corps. And so I have no second thoughts. And
It's sort of amazing, how, ultimately sort of God works all this stuff out for, the betterment of man. So.
well, it was my betterment anyway.
That's a great story.
It is a good story.
And so, like one of the things that Darcy and I talked about as far as, sort of doing this radio program is we want to, we're going to banter back and forth and have some fun, but I like doing the interviews, right? And people who who have contributed, right, or to the building of this nation, basically, right?
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
from a generation, plus ago until today, it's had a major impact on, this nation and populating it with 4 kids. Was it 4 kids and 15 grandkids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great grandkids and grandkids.
Grandkids, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the odd, strange things was my wife, like I said, went to work when she was 14. Well, I went to college in the GI Bill, and She reviewed all my papers. And if I listened to her, I got a decent grade. If I didn't listen to her, I went down the toilet.
So I have a question for you. Actually, there's a friend standing here in the room too. But she's a nurse and I'm also a nurse. So how is it for your health care now? Like, are you, if you have any issues, do you have to go to a veterans hospital? How does it
No,
work for you all?
I'm a retired vet.
Okay.
I have a excellent health plan.
Which has nothing to do with your military service?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're still service
Retired
retired.
civil service, the old system.
The old system. Yeah. CSRS. Yeah.
So then how does that work? What if he had retired from the military? Would it be how does that work?
I didn't retire from the military, I don't know, but I know they had to struggle for everything they got.
Yeah.
If the veteran gets anything in this country, it's because the veterans went out and either, you go back to the bonus march, and they had to fight for everything they got, including the GI Bill, and which I benefited from, and I'm grateful I had it.
Right.
That's how I went to college. There was no question about money then.
Yeah. Well, now you went to college. Now, what did you get your degree in?
Yeah.
Business.
Oh, sweet.
It was the shortest distance.
Was it? Yeah.
Right.
I went to a small Roman Catholic women's college, and
Oh, sweet.
I asked Sister Clarice, I said, what's the shortest distance from here to a degree? She said, business. I said, I'm a business major.
Oh, that's too funny. That is too funny. Now, what was the name of the college again?
Rivier College in New Hampshire.
Oh, nice.
Sisters of the Presentation of Mary.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still around?
Now it's Rivier University.
Oh,
They
sweet.
give early education, I guess it's doctorate in early education, something like that, childhood development. They were nice people, they treated us okay, and they didn't take any stuff from the veterans. They landed a bunch of veterans is what they did.
Yeah.
And then 15 years or so later, they went co-ed.
Right.
We would test cases to
Just
see if we
cases.
could measure up.
Well, you were already married at the time.
So you,
Oh, yeah.
So you
I
were
went
a safe
part-time.
bet.
Yeah.
They go, we'll let the guy in because he's married.
Well, I went part-time, and as I told some kids, my wife watched me full-time.
Yeah.
But, no, they're nice people,
Yeah.
really smart professors, and it was a good opportunity.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and plus I lived down the street from them, I could actually walk.
Yeah. Now, do you ever eat over at Bonnie's?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've at least known my story. I'm focused on the fact that you don't know me. This is I haven't met many
Well,
people.
why would Bonnie's, because this,
Well, just 'cause
being
I'm
right next door?
Well, I have so many people that just
But
stop
that's not
in.
how people know you.
No, that's right. That's
I'm just
right.
saying, Warner.
But with that said, if you're ever over at Bonnie's and you see my door open, drop down.
Okay.
I'd like to chat with you more.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, I
Oklahoma Sooners boys.
No, absolutely.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's like a brother here, man.
No,
You know?
my daughter is big on, one of my daughters is big on OU.
Oh, wow.
I'm not overly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, because I definitely like to, sort of chit-chat a little bit more. Yeah, because it is, like I said, it's a little small world after all. And I think it's just funny that
Can you sing it for us?
we've met, but I'll insert the music clip here.
At the end.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just amazing that we've crossed paths so many times over the course of our life, only to come to here to find it. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
That's just too
And
weird.
it's so funny because before we started the show, you didn't want to know a single thing.
No, absolutely.
You're like, let's
No,
just
because I wanted it
cut
to
to the
be.
chase, right into it, and see.
No, absolutely right.
Wow,
So you get
that's
that.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, that's just too funny. That's too funny. Well, Mr. Anderson, thank you very much, for your time. Thank you very much for your service. And
Yeah, thank
it was great. And now you were at the Memorial Day service here in
Yeah, I
town.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Now,
what
was there a
it
big turnout? Because I had to work today, so.
It was a decent turnout, I think, for a
Yeah,
town this
that's
size.
fine.
Okay, yeah.
And the people that spoke did well.
Oh, sweet.
Mary did a good job.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for a job.
Yeah.
And a lot of, neighbors were out there.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Did you want to close out today's show?
Well, I just want to thank Larry Anderson for agreeing at the last minute to come in today because he was supposed to have a cookout with his family. So Thanks for
Okay, well,
sharing your story with
Yeah.
us.
And just for clarity, so he's not a paid actor. This is actually
He's real.
Mr. Larry
And we
Anderson.
probably won't pay him anything unless you do. So.
Yeah, no, so,
Oh, wait, I have a few things to mention before we do close out.
okay, but before you do that,
Okay.
let me interrupt you.
You can go
interrupted
right
my
ahead.
interruption.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's the deal. So when y'all guys in Lovettsville, you're out and about and you see Mr. Anderson, tell me you saw this video and thank him for his service.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah.
June 18th at Creek's Edge Winery. It's going to be a fundraiser for the veterans. I think we're going to start at 2 or 3 p.m. And it's Coalition to Salute America's Heroes. So everybody in the world is invited. We're going to have probably badminton, volleyball, foods, drinks. The Coalition will have a tent out there. So fundraiser / birthday party for local people.
And wait, what day is that on?
Saturday, June 18th.
Okay.
So
And
be there.
we'll cut
Creek's Edge Winery.
we'll cut an advertisement for that as well.
Okay, that'll be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Like we
Okay.
did last year. We did that last year
Oh, okay.
for the coalition.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Yep,
Yeah, for something
perfect.
like that. Okay, so with this, anything else?
I think that would probably be it today, since he's our,
No, he's
you know,
it.
he's
I mean,
our star.
I'm not
and
too
we're
sure what I
actually
can.
at like,
How do I follow
our-
up with that story?
I don't
got
know.
nothing.
You, well,
I got nothing here.
I'm sure if you would admit to a lot, you'd have.
Yeah, but I've never flown in the helicopter. I've never even ridden in a helicopter.
Really, I have.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that just seems so cool,
Yeah.
right?
they work, as long as they work, they're fine.
If they put you in the helicopter today, would you be able to fly it?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
It's been 50 years, I'm almost 50 years. You gotta be able to coordinate yourself, and I could probably turn some things on up to the point where I get dangerous, and then
I could probably honk the horn. Do they have a horn on them? Do they got a little horn to, you know, somebody's in the way or something?
no, but Americans are funny. American humor is different than other parts of the world.
How so?
Remember, well, you have an instrument panel, and there was something wrong one day. We're flying, and we knew something was wrong. We couldn't figure it out, and both of us, co-pilot and pilot, were talking. Something's wrong with this damn aircraft, and we finally, exasperated, we said to the crew chief, "Is there something different about this aircraft?" And he said, "Yeah, look down next to the one of the gauges, oil gauge or something, and there was a pearl button with panic written on it." we didn't see it, but we knew something was there. It was something. We just didn't notice it, but we knew something was wrong. Something was different. But that was the
That's cute.
crew chief. I forget who it was, but he has a good sense of humor. That wouldn't happen in another military outfit. The Army it would, Navy it would. Nowhere else in the world.
Huh.
Good people.
And on that humorous note,
Yeah.
all right,
We're done.
I think we're done.
Okay.
Thanks, Larry.
And now, wait, did you do our official sign off?
So
Whatever
the
that
official
is.
sign off is, thank you once again. This is our third show and counting.
Yeah, and for clarity, today is May
What is today? Memorial Day, May 30th.
May 30th.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And so, again, this is episode 3,
episode 3
right? And this will be out on tomorrow by the 31st.
with his Warner's technical skills. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, okay, we're off.
Thanks, guys.
God bless
Till
next week. And tk you again,
Thanks, Larry.
Mr. Larry Anderson.
We'll be seeing you out on the street.
I'll see you when I need a haircut.
Exactly.
Well, fortunately, remember